So you're recording and mixing in real time?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
All righty. We are officially live. So today on the T Podcast, we have Michael Russo, who is the co-founder and chief creative officer at brandRUSSO in Lafayette, formerly known as Russo Group back in the day. That's what I remember it as.
We've had a bunch of names. Yeah.
Yeah.
We finally settled on where we're at now. Yeah.
Well, we're going to be talking about him and their company, but also we're going to be talking about their Brand Break Summit coming up in January. It's going to be a cool episode. Also, the podcast studio is sponsored by OptimizeGP.com. That is Optimized Generator People. So if you have a home that you own, of course, you can't just retrofit this on an apartment because it'd be weird, but they specialize in whole home Generac generator solutions. So basically, if your power goes out during a storm or during our janky electrical system outages, this thing will kick on in like less than 30 seconds. So your Wi-Fi is on, everything's on, your power's on. The whole neighborhood is jealous that you have power and they don't. Whole thing. Check them out, OptimizeGP.com. They have great expert customer service, award-winning service, all that good stuff. I've seen the awards, really nice. Great local company. They support us, and check them out. You can get started with a whole home generator for pretty cheap to start, like $600, relatively cheap, and then just pay off over several months. But with that, let's get on with the episode. All right. So real quick, before we get started with the conversation, our next sponsor, the presenting sponsor, is Chase Group Construction. You've heard me talk about them nonstop for every episode. I talk about them because they're a sponsor, and I have to. But also, great local company. Again, they build a lot of stuff. They're building some really cool stuff right now. They are a commercial construction company. I think they build houses too, but like their bread and butter is commercial. And so they built several restaurants in town, shopping centers, medical offices, the gamut. They're building some really cool stuff too right now in Youngsville and in Lafayette that I can't mention. The Youngsville thing I can mention though. It's a pickleball restaurant. That's going to be cool if you like pickleball. In Lafayette, there's several new things that they're working on. But anyway, check them out, chasegroupconstruction.com. They actually do routine updates on their Facebook page, social medias of all their projects that they're working on. And they do really cool video editing. It's like they got a really cool thing going. So check them out, chasegroupconstruction.com. Really appreciate their support. And with that, let's get on with the episode. Michael, welcome to the T Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So tell us a little bit about you. Are you originally from Lafayette?
Kind of, sort of, born in Morgan City originally, and then my family moved here in probably 1980 or so, and been here ever since. I say that. I've been here for a good while. Went to high school here at Como High. But middle of my sophomore year during the oil crash, my family left, went to Florida. That's where I graduated high school, came back for college, went to Seattle, worked there for a while by way of spent some time in Montana, and then ended up back here in Lafayette.
Okay, so from Morgan City initially. Mm-hmm. Okay, so not that far down the road, really.
Oh no, we're down, way down south.
Yeah. Down the bayou, as they some people like to call it, DJ Rhett. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do.
That guy. But anyway, yeah, so Seattle, man. How long did you go for in Seattle?
I was over there a couple of years. I went after college. It was during the grunge movement.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a couple of friends from here that went up there to do theater, and they were loving it. And the movie Singles came out at the time. I don't know if maybe before your time, but it was about the 90s and about the grunge movement and all that. And it sounded like a really cool place. So I went up there for a couple of years and worked in the service industry. I worked in the restaurant business, freelanced, and did advertising and some writing and things like that. And then eventually, what they say about it, it rains a lot and it's dark, and it's true. It's very dark. It doesn't rain a lot; it's just dark and kind of gloomy, And so, after about 2 years of no sunlight, I decided it was time to come home. So,
yeah, I can't imagine it being dark like all the time. That sounds kind of depressing.
It is. I mean, it was kind of cool at the time because I was in my 20s, you know, and they had a lot of young people there just kind of hanging out and finding their way. Everybody had college degrees. Nobody wanted to go to work yet, you know. But it is. It's like a low cloud ceiling and just dark and gloomy and everything's wet. It's like you're living in a cloud. It's like misty. It's not really raining. It's just misty and wet, you know. So you can't use umbrellas. It doesn't protect you. But
That's funny.
But yeah, but it was a cool vibe. Lots of coffee shops. Lots of good music at the time. This was Nirvana was going on, Pearl Jam, all that. And it was
wow. So like the quote unquote good old days of the grunge movement. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I found out though, what a lot of people didn't know was grunge was basically like that was the rock star version of it. The Seattle version of it was people just didn't bathe and they just hung out on the streets and asked for money. And it was like young people. It wasn't like they were like hanging out. It was just kind of it was called grunge for a reason, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is it somewhat still like that today? Like there's people like just hanging out, not bathing.
Well, I went up recently with my daughter 2 years ago or so, and it had changed so much. The whole city had changed so much. It's just been booming and growing and all that. But it was, but yeah, like I said, I enjoyed my time there. It was a good time to be young there, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you graduated high school in Florida, and then you moved to Seattle.
I graduated in Clearwater Beach, Florida. That's where down Tampa area, and I moved back here to go to college. So I went to college here at UL.
Okay.
USL.
Okay, got it.
And then graduated, and then it took me a while. I was in school for a long time, but I came here specifically because they had a really good advertising program. I mean, it was home too, but the guy named Dutch Kepler ran it at the time, and he kind of had an advertising design program, which really appealed to me. It was more just versus just design. And just concepts and writing and things like that. And so I really kind of was drawn to that. And yeah, it was a good choice.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself like a Cajun at all? Like,
well, I kind of, it's weird. We talk about this a lot because my family's in Morgan City. There's a lot of Italian. There was at the time a lot of Italians there, and I mean everybody I knew had a vowel behind their name. It was Grizzaffi, Garisco, Russo, Domino, that kind of thing, and that's all we hung out with. That's the only people I knew really, And then we moved to Lafayette and started kind of getting more involved in the culture here and whatnot. It was like all of a sudden you start because like we didn't eat rice. We didn't have Cajun food.
Hold up. So Morgan City, that's, I mean, not that far south in relation to where the south of Louisiana is.
Yeah.
But you didn't have, you didn't eat rice?
No, not in my community. I mean, we had pasta. Wow. We had very...
Okay,
like
I mean, I guess the Italian
yeah,
thing, yeah.
It was very Italian. Like I said, just a long story short, but in the 1900s, early 1900s, a lot of the immigrants were coming over here. A lot of the northern Sicilians and southern Italians went to Ellis Island in New York. A lot of the southern, part of Sicily and that type of group, they went straight to New Orleans. Because there was a need for farm work, there was a need for just general laborers, that kind of thing. So they had two kind of waves, and my family ended up down in New Orleans, and they migrated down south to Morgan City because there was work there. There were sugarcane fields.
Okay.
There was all that going on. Yeah.
So while you are in Cajun country, you are not necessarily a through and through. Like I don't detect any No. Accent or nothing in you, and it's funny.
No, we're very hybrid. Like I said, my dad makes fun of me because my cooking is kind of mixed. I like spicy things. I like Cajun food, and so he's strictly Italian food. And doesn't like red pepper or anything like that. So, but yeah, no, it's just one of those things. Like you grow up in the culture, you kind of get immersed to it. That's what I love about Louisiana. It's everybody's Cajun by destination, not just by birth. I mean, I don't have an EAUX at the end of my name, but I grew up here. And you
could have an EAUX. Yeah. I mean, Russo, you could change it.
It's misspelled all the time. Yeah, but no, it's just part of the. Like I said, I think when you come down here, you get immersed into the culture and you become part of the culture, and it is part of that. And I love that it's still Cajun, that it's still French. I love being around all that. It's just it's unique. I think, and I've been able to travel a lot over the many years, and it's not that way everywhere. It's such a everything gets watered down eventually or whatever. And I hope that we are able to keep ours intact. I think it's important.
Yeah. So it's really interesting to know that we have such a strong Italian influence in South Louisiana, because I'm just starting to realize that actually with the restaurant that just opened up, Cugino. I mean, the guy who started it, he started Marcello's back in 1981.
Yep.
I didn't. So I moved here in 2010. So my understanding of Lafayette still in infancy stage. Like I'm still learning a lot. And I only grew up an hour. Like I was raised an hour north from here, but as you say, I mean, you're from an hour south, essentially, give or take. It's there's differences, and so me being raised almost in South Arkansas, which I call it essentially Central Louisiana, and then moving to Lafayette, there was a lot of last names that I had to learn how to say, and I heard them as a kid, but seeing it on paper was different. It's like, oh, this is not like you don't say Richard. This is not Richard.
Yeah.
This is Richard.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So talking with Gene, the founder of Marcello's and Cugino, and he was telling me about his family and, you know, the connection with New Orleans and Sicily. And I'm like, I just didn't expect that strong of an Italian base in South Louisiana, and now hearing it from you, that
it's huge.
Further confirmation.
Yeah, especially in New Orleans area. I mean, for a long time, like the French Quarter was the Italian Quarter. You know, like that's where, like when, you know, just like any new immigrants that come into the country, they usually kind of move one out for the other, and they take over where they've upgraded to, kind of thing. You know, and so like the Italians there, they had the Italian markets down on the riverfront, and there was a huge story at the time. It was a huge scandal, actually, 1900s, somewhere around there, maybe a little before then. But there was one of the biggest lynchings in America happened in New Orleans, and it was the Italian Americans that were lynched because there was a sheriff there. I think his name was Hennessy. Something like that. But anyway, he was murdered, and they said when they found him, there's a lot of, you know, people don't always love new immigrants that are coming into towns, and but he was murdered, and his dying words were I think something like those damn Dagos, and he was calling the Italians out for it, you know, and so the mobs rose up. And by the way, if you don't know what Dago means, it's Italian slang, but it means they used to be day laborers, and they would often go work and they wouldn't get paid. They would say, okay, well, I'm not going to pay you because I got more coming down the road. So the Italians would start to go back to them and say, Dagos, you pay me as the day goes. And so they called them those damn Dagos.
Oh,
so anyway, if you ever hear that term, that's where it comes from. But anyway, long story, they the crowds rose up in New Orleans, and they strung up like 10 to 12 Italians, and the Italian government got involved. There was a big thing. And that's why they have this Italian courtyard there now. And that's where the New Orleans Italian American Federation Museum is down there. Actually, we just went to it. It's kind of cool. But in memory of that, there's a statue that commemorates that event and stuff. So yeah, there was a huge history about that all kind of derives from Sicily to New Orleans to South Louisiana.
That is wild. Okay. Look, now I got to do some digging.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much more, it's so much deeper. Like, first of all, the culture here is so mixed. Mm-hmm. Like, you could say it's Cajun culture or Cajun Creole culture, but like, the culture is derived from so many different influences here. Heavily Spanish, of course, you know, the French Canadian, but now Italian. And I guess, okay, maybe that makes sense with jambalaya and pastalaya. Maybe there's a connection there. I don't know.
I don't know. I think from what I understand, pastalaya is like a bad word for a lot of people. So it just depends on, I guess, which side of the fence you're on.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. If you're DJ Rhett, you know,
I've heard his take on that, definitely.
Oh,
no, we were very fortunate, though. We about 3 years ago, I took my whole family. I have 4 kids, and my wife, Jackie, she did a great job. She tracked down the church in the town that we were supposedly from in Sicily, and we got to go there. And we went to this town, it was Corleone, Sicily, and it was up in the mountains, beautiful, and very what you would think that looks like. It's very old and rustic. But we found the actual church, went in, there was a Catholic priest there, didn't speak any English, we had a translator. He found this book, and it had the names of everybody that was baptized and everything. Catholic Church keeps records. And it had my great-grandfather in there, and it had his lineage. And so we were able to track back to there. They gave us this document that said, this is official, this is where you came from. And so now we have that for my family and generations on. We know exactly where we came from. And it was just a really kind of a cool experience.
Dude, that is really cool to see your grandfather. You said your great-grandfather or grandfather?
My great-grandfather was the first one to come to America. So his name was, I have a grandfather. His father came from Sicily.
Got it.
And his name was Salvatore, or they called him Sam. And I think his father was Francesco, and the name was in the ledgers, like they had him when he was born and everything else. It was really cool. So,
That is really cool to see like proof, to see like connection with the area. Is
yeah, and we had a good understanding of how we got here, but we didn't know the full details. And some people got interested in it, and I was interested in it. And so little by little, those pieces came together. Now we have a pretty good working story behind it. And now with the whole, everybody's tracking their genealogy and all that stuff. So it's very popular. It's a lot easier to do that today than it was in the past, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we could talk about family history for a good minute there. So you learn advertising and marketing, I'm guessing, from UL. Is that what you went to school for?
Yeah. It was it was a graphic design program, I guess, but I think it was officially advertising design. So again, it was a hybrid of advertising and design work. And again, Dutch Kepler was there. He was kind of renowned as a teacher, and he produced art directors and creative directors all over the Gulf Coast, from Dallas all the way around. Most of the agency owners in Lafayette all came from him. It was just he had it was kind of like a gauntlet. Like if you got through his program, you were going to be okay, kind of thing. He was really hard.
Okay.
Like we started with like 10, 15 kids, maybe graduated 5, you know. He just was really, and it was great because you learned a lot through that process. But yeah, so that was my upbringing for that.
Okay, I want to talk about your schooling and how you ultimately graduated and into advertising, graphic design, and all that good stuff. But first, I do have to get in my last sponsor, and then we can get going. All right, Music Academy of Acadiana. Check them out, musicacademyacadiana.com. They are a great local school. They have over like 500 or so students in and out of their facility each month, or enrolled. They teach students of all ages with, stringed instruments, wind instruments, things you can beat on. Your voice. And I joke and say that if somebody says that you can sing good, you should try out for American Idol. You should get a second opinion, and you could probably do that at the Music Academy of Acadiana, and they can help you improve your voice. And then once you learn all the technicalities of music and how to create it and how to excel in it, they can actually record an album there for you, because they have a award-winning in-house recording studio, which is a separate company but in the same building. So really cool. I know several different musicians that record their albums there locally and that are pretty well known. So check them out, musicacademyacadiana.com. Great local school. Really appreciate their support. Okay. So graduating college, I don't know what year this was. I don't want to place that, but
it was 96.
96. Okay. So really, that's a pretty, I guess, a decent time for graphic design. I mean, because computers were starting to come up. I mean, and it wasn't saturated, at least from that I know of.
No, you're right. It was, and Dutch was kind of old school in terms of we had computers out at the time. I think my first computer was a Macintosh Performa. They had Adobe One, that kind of thing. And it was just really basic. But we did everything by hand skills. Like we hand lettered and hand designed, which was great. Again, we learned the craft, of design, and it taught you a lot of things. So now when your computers, it's so easy to skip steps and to be a little lax with some of the details. But through that process of we literally had a projector where we had a screen with letters, and we would project it down, and we'd do paragraphs of copy where we'd have a repeated graph pen, and we'd write each letter perfectly. Like it looked like an ad, but it was done that way. And so you hand did everything. And so it just kind of taught you a different level of appreciation for the craft itself, I think.
Yeah, no, I love appreciation for the craft, but I also love being efficient, getting stuff done quick. But sometimes things get done so quick that you feel like it was cheap.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse. And I talk about this all the time. The technology today is a blessing because we are so much faster and more efficient. We can do more work. I mean, at the same time, expectations are higher. People want things faster. People want things now. There's, the magic button. Like what we used to do with an ad campaign, there was only 3 medias really. It was print, TV, radio, and collateral kind of thing, and then in print, there were maybe 2 papers and some publications, that kind of thing. It was real basic, but you do a whole campaign, you spend maybe months on that, and you'd launch it and you'd run it for 6 months or so, and then you'd extend it or you'd add to it or that kind of thing. But that was the process, Now that same amount of work is done every week because of the multiple social media channels, because of the speed and all the durations. So a lot of times you'll spend time on a campaign, you'll launch it, it's out there, and because of the the metrics, like not the metrics, the whatever it is, like the what word I'm looking for. Anyway, the algorithms of who sees what.
I thought you might have been gone.
Yeah. Oh, but people may only see, if you have an audience of 100, only 10 may see that particular thing, and it's gone forever. Nobody's going to go back and look back because everybody's looking at what's coming up now. So it's just constantly moving. So the creative you're working on is kind of like really has to be good, but it has to be somehow long lasting and to be able to stick around. If not, it's just gone, and it's not going to be rerun in the same ad. It's not going to get in front of the same people, that kind of thing. It's not like an outdoor board or anything like that where it stays for some time. So yeah, it's good and bad. I miss the old days of the old campaign structures, because now you have so many channels, you have so many media stations, you have so many sizes. Think about it. If I do a campaign and we're doing something national, which we do now, we may have 35, 45 different sizes for every ad. So if we have 6 ad sets, there's 35, 40 different ad variations we have to go out there and redesign for and repurpose and put out there across all these channels. And that may change weekly. We may have to have A/B testing. We may have to, there's just so much going on with that. And again, it's great for a marketer, but it's challenging, it's challenging, especially and no matter what level you're on. If you're local, you have to have those challenges. And if you're a national company, they have to have those same challenges because they're all dealing with the same thing,
Yeah. So speaking of like computers coming up and like making things more efficient, I guess faster, my dad used to hand paint signs for my high school. They would commission him to hand paint the big 4x8 metal sign that would show the basketball team championship with their names and the date, the year, all that good stuff. And as a kid, I loved watching my dad hand paint a sign, just having the thin brushes and using his little pinky and like basically it was almost like pinstriping. You're going through. He would like mask off things, and I loved that as a kid. But me coming into age of whenever I started using computers, which was age 13, and that's when we first got our gateway computer, the Cal one. And someone at school was like, hey, there's this program. I don't know if it was Photoshop, but it might have been Corel Draw. It was like one of those like early programs, and I was like, man, this is going to be cool. And it was janky. Like I was using it, and it felt like super sloppy. I was like, I don't feel creative with this. I just feel like I'm creating cheap slop. And I was like, cool, whatever. I'll play with it. And then I got interested in doing that, and I saw my dad resisting using a computer because he was not computer savvy, and he was trying to keep the hand painted signs going, but people wanted signs faster, more increasing. This was about the same time you're graduating college. This was like between 95 and 2000, and in that range, that's when hand painted signs for him was no longer feasible because he'd have to charge so much, but it would take him so much longer to produce it when they can go to a vinyl sign shop, tell them, oh, I need these names. This guy would get on a computer, type it all in, blah, 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 throw in some clip art of a basketball and, cut it out and put it on a metal sign, and that was it. And my dad was like, I can't compete with that because I just don't have that skill in my arsenal. And for me, it was almost like, man, I felt like he gave up, but he didn't give up what he loved. Yeah. He just gave up on trying to compete. And he had a full-time job anyway. That was not his full-time gig. That was a side gig for him. But just the advancements of technology can be a blessing and a curse at the same time. And I think you kind of alluded to that.
Yeah, and we're at that next level now with AI, and I hate to bring it up because it comes up all the time in our conversations too, but it's hard not to. That is a game changer, and not just for the world of advertising and design, but every industry, everybody is being affected by this, and they're going to keep being affected, right?
Oh, it ain't stopping.
Yeah, it's not. You can't put it back in the box, but at the same time, there was a time when people said, "Oh, the computer thing, it's a fad," or "Oh, social media, that's just a fad. It's not going to stick. It's not going to do this. It's like, those are all game changers. This AI thing is a huge game changer and life-changing game changer. And I don't think people, if you're putting your head in the sand right now and just like, that's not for me, you're going to get left behind. You know, it's something you have to use. And I try to tell my team a lot, and for myself included, it's a battle. Like for example, I write a lot, and I love a dash. I put dashes in everything.
M dash, oh yeah.
Yes, but I've done that for years. It's in all my work. I like to dictate. I'm kind of a lyrical writer, and I like to dictate how I want people to read it. And so if I want to pause, I'm going to put a dash. If I want, and I use them more than I should. Grammatically, probably people would dice me.
People are like, "Oh, this guy uses AI."
Yeah, exactly. When that comes up, it came up the other day in a meeting. I'm like, you know what? You can't take that from me. It's not fair. You know, like, that's mine. And I do use AI for research and development and note taking and all these different things. But it's, again, how do you use it as a tool? How do you use it to help you? And if you're sitting there letting it do the work for you, that's my fear. Is that beyond all this conversation of advertising, humanity. Like, when we stop to think and we stop thinking and writing, we're gonna end up like what's the Wall-E movie?
Oh, Wall-E, and they're all floating around, like, getting fat.
I mean, we have to be able to still think. And if we let AI think for us, like, oh, let me just, because I've had people send me emails where I know an AI wrote that response. I'm like, come on, take the time to write a response. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I understand you can, throw it in ChatGPT, see what it says. And that's a great way to prove, that's a great way to get ideas, it's a great way to brainstorm, to use it as a writing team to help you. But you have to eventually look at it and think through it and say, how do I manipulate this for my advantage with my own with my own thoughts? We're going to become editors, I think, more than anything. And we have to be good editors. And you can't just take what's given. You have to go back and say, did you go far enough? Did you dig deep enough? Because from a creative process, and that's what I learned from Dutch in college, was quality comes from quantity. You have to grind it out. You know, like, I remember our first day of class, we had like, okay, tomorrow, he didn't say much. He walked in and said, all right, I need 300 logos for tomorrow. And he walked out, you know, and it was like, go figure it out, you know? And we did. You stayed up all night and you grinded it out, and you worked really hard. And kind of like everything on the surface of creativity is like right here. You have to go under it. You have to dig deeper. And that's when the good stuff happens, you know? ChatGPT is like the first round. Like, if you type something in and it gives it back to you, it's fine. Sometimes it's really impressive, but it's just generic, you know? And I think we're going to end up in the age of mediocrity if we let that just sit there. We have to kind of dig deeper. And us as an agency, that's where we found our value, or we will find our value in the future, is keeping up. Is, you know, we have to be above that. We have to be consultants. We have to be developers. We have to be people that, and kind of what we're talking about later with the brand break thing, it's marketing directors. They're all facing the same challenges. How do we all rise up and keep our jobs, really, and our institutions, and more than that, keep the dignity and the professionalism of marketing and advertising, you know, to where it doesn't just become a thing that we just hit a button for, because then all of a sudden it all gets the same. A great example of that, and I know I'm rambling, but I get on my preach about this.
Oh, no, it's all good.
But like, when you talk about like radio, like, I love radio. I love writing for radio. It's one of my favorite things. And we have a bunch of great radio on our site. I just love all of our spots. And we always be able to do that well, because there's not a lot of good radio advertising. It's you know, Monday, Friday, come in now, repeat the phone number. They follow the mold, right? But I went to this guy early in my career. His name was Roy Williamson. I'm so sorry I'm forgetting his name, but he's the Wizard of Ads. He's out of Austin, Texas. And he's a guy that's like, he reinvented like ad writing kind of thing. And I learned so much from him, but it was about how to really tell a story through radio, you know, and you can start at the beginning, and you have this narrative, and you can build these images that you don't have to have TV for, and you can really paint pictures and really storytell, you know, before storytelling was a buzzword. And loved it. But you were able to stand out because there was so much bad. And so that's the kind of thing with anything. There's a lot of bad out there right now. There's a lot of numbness of, oh my God, I've seen this. Oh, this stands out. Why does it stand out? It could be the message. It could be the design. It could be, you know, the who you're talking to, and you've reached them somehow on an emotional level. That's where the emotional content comes in. So that's the stuff that gets me excited still.
Yeah. So you mentioned, or at least alluded a little bit to, the mediocrity side of it, and not putting, or basically it feels like it's the same thing. You're seeing the same thing over and over. And one of the things, and I talked to a couple of people outside of any sort of like recorded session, or, you know, off the record, about just authenticity has become the most prevalent thing that anybody can do. Like if you want to stand out, literally don't try to be professional. Like, and it may sound weird. Be professional if you want to. You can still be authentic and professional. But at the beginning of the year, I was in this mindset of like, oh, I need to maybe get into YouTube. Like I want to start, recording just not vlogs per se, but like my little boy, like doing things with him, and like so that he has a catalog of things in the future to look back on, like maybe just based almost like home movie style stuff. And I was like, but I don't want to get into the editing. I don't want to do all that work. It's a lot. Because with YouTube back in the day, like 2015, 2016, if you wasn't editing like Casey Neistat, you was not doing YouTube right.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work. And it's funny because Casey started out doing YouTube in that way where he didn't want to try hard. He just wanted to do it. He wanted to chop it up and just put it out. He didn't want to put a lot of effort into it. And then it turned out to where he was putting the most effort into it, to where he was doing daily vlogs and not spending time with his family. But at the beginning of the year, I go back and there was a YouTuber that was saying, one of the things you're going to notice in 2025 is less highly produced videos. You're going to start seeing people that are just putting their phone or their camera up on a tripod, no editing, sitting in front of the camera and just talking. And he showed examples of YouTubers already doing that and getting major traction. And I was like, that is interesting to think about, knowing that AI is fast, becoming more advanced. I was like, we are going to be in a world where if you do something, even if it's just as simple as standing in front of a camera, no editing, and just talking and letting yourself be able to make a mistake or be raw in that sense, you might get better traction and people want to watch you more than if it's really nice and clean and buttoned up on AI-esque vibes. Mm-hmm. And so at the beginning of the year, I said, you know what? I need to try a piece of content. So I went to a restaurant, filmed it, and I stood in front of the camera, and I was just so awkward because first of all, pointing the camera at you out in public
changes everything. Yeah.
Oh, it's weird. Yeah. It's awkward. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just record something, and I know I'm gonna hate it, so I'll probably delete it and do another one. And then I did it. I said, I actually do hate it. And I was going to my camera. I walked to my camera and I was about to delete the footage. And I thought to myself, what if me hating it is that good, there's something good there. So I went in my car like that second because I was curious. Why do I hate this? There was a couple things I hated that I actually did delete. But for the most part, that awkward feeling that I got, I said, this feels different. Like AI can't create this. Not that I use AI to create video content or anything, but I was like, let me try this. And it did really well. Like that video did 90,000 views locally. I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Just for me rambling and talking about a burger. Mm-hmm. That's all I did. So, to round that off, it's just, I like AI. And you said it comes up in every conversation, and it does, because it's one of those things we're not going to stop, and we have to embrace to a degree. But I also love just being spontaneous and just doing something off the cuff, whether that be a graphic that isn't going to be super pretty, but maybe I'll just create a quick graphic, in my phone in one of the little editors that I have, and don't use AI, and see what that does. And it's like almost every time you do something that's like a little extra effort, even if you use a chunk of AI to it, it just turns out better.
It's going to become more and more of our daily existence. I mean, to where we're doing it now. When my house is totally wired, which I hate, but it's kind of cool at times. But anyway, walk in, Alexa, turn on the lights. Alexa, turn on daytime. Turn off the TV. Hey, what time is it? What's the temperature outside? I mean, it is part of and we're going to start doing that more and more. It's going to be in our watches, and we're going to be able to call out, hey, computer, what's the answer to this? And it'll tell you. I mean, that's happening now, And with our industry, with advertising right now, the entry level to get in, the bridge to get in is very much lower than what it used to be. I mean, like we talked about the equipment here, for example, whatever the studio cost you to make these mics, this would have been affordable 10 years ago. But the prices are, even though it's still pricey, it's so much more less than what it used to be. I mean, you can start an agency with, a how-to book and a laptop and call yourself an agency. Now you have to have the skills and you have to figure it out. You have to go get business. You have to actually do good work. I mean, all those things happen, but you don't have to have a big giant office and all these things to make all that work. It's easier to get into, and so it's even harder to maintain. And that's the thing, is like as you do this work and as you work with agencies or marketers, or you're doing it yourself, if you're a business owner and you're like doing your own thing, and you can do that now easier. You can find templates that look really good. But at some point, like logos, like, I can get an AI generator to do my logo. It costs me nothing, or I can pay somebody on $5 or $20 and they're going to do me a logo, whatever. It's like, you get what you pay for. And I know people that have gotten it and they've ended up getting sued because it looks like something else that somebody else did. They didn't do the proper research. They didn't have the brand standards. They didn't do the depth of research that maybe we would do or another agency would do. So there's still room for that in today's world. What does it mean tomorrow? I think tomorrow it's not. AI is going to continue to evolve, right? It's going to get better and better and better. And we've seen that in a quick, short amount of time. It's better and better and better. And as they keep reintroducing new models and all these different things, it's going to be better. So it's going to be more, how do you manage it? How do you use it as a tool? How do you become more of a consultant in these areas? And I think the people that are really good at it are going to stick around, and the ones that are kind of not involving and not doing it, they're going to fade. I mean, our agency, we've been around for 25 years, coming up with 25 years. And I give all the credit to Jackie for that, because we've evolved over and over again. When social media came out, we were one of the first ones, like, here, like, hey, this is the thing. We need to start, know. And I think other agencies maybe stuck with, we're just going to stick with we're going to keep selling TV, radio, print, like they're gone now. Nowadays, that is, if you're not doing that, you're not part of it, And right now, AI, if you're not part of it, you're going to get left behind,
In 2022, when ChatGPT first came onto the scene at the end of 2022, a buddy of mine that I go eat lunch with every day, he's a software developer in town, and we love to be on the cutting edge of technology. We love it. It's just, I'm a geek in that sense. I love when new technology comes out, and I consider myself an early adopter whenever I can afford it. And we were talking about ChatGPT at that point and what it's going to mean in the future. And we didn't know what 2023, 24, 25 was going to look like. We were just in 2022, the early year of 2023. And we both agreed that it's not going anywhere. It's going to be that same time back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, when computers were starting to become more common. I bring up an episode of Roseanne, and there was an episode where she was trying to get a job, and she did not know how to work a computer. She knew how to work a typewriter, but never worked a computer. And in order for her to get that job said, we really need you to learn how to use a computer. And I talked to my friend, and I said, AI is going to be the transition from typewriter to computer today. You may not like it, but you're going to need to learn how to use it to make it work for you the way that you want it to work. I mean, same thing with computers back in the day. It was like people were scared of it. My grandmother was afraid to touch a computer at all because she thought it would blow up, because she thought there'd be a sequence of keys that she'd press it would just fry. I'm like, no, Grandma, it'll never do that. The worst you can do is restart the computer by accident.
Yeah, the challenges, I think, and the biggest hurt that we're going to have, I mean, it's going to make everything better in a lot of ways, but the artistic community, the creative community is going to suffer the most, I think, and be challenged the most. People will learn how to use it. They'll learn how to adapt. It's going to happen. But like you see that going on in Hollywood right now, they're having all these problems with, AI and replacing actors and having, I mean, it's so good now. It's getting to where you can literally do things that you can't tell the difference. And that's almost, I think, criminal in a way, because it's not authentic at all. It's a lie. I mean, you can make something look so real that you're deceiving people. And if anyway, that's a whole other thing. But,
I know.
But you're going to start seeing that on TV shows, where a TV show will come on and they'll say this recording was human recorded. no AI was used in this recording, that kind of thing, you know, or you'll have to list it ahead of time what you did or did not use for that. Artist, you'll have to, this was created by an artist, by an actual human being, you know, that kind of thing. That's what's going to start happening and have to happen if you want to keep the lines straight.
Because as bad as we want everything that's AI to be labeled AI generated, the whole point of people using AI generated stuff is so that you don't see that it's AI generated.
Yeah.
People that create AI generated stuff don't want you to know that it's AI generated. That defeats the purpose for them.
Yeah.
Because they want to pass it off as
Yeah.
a real or original.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's scary. So I think you're right. I think we're going to see, and I think we're already seeing it, where people that create original content put a subtitle or a little thing saying this was created by a human.
Yeah, because there's going to be value in that. People are going to seek that out. They're going to want that authenticity that you keep talking about, you know, that kind of thing. And other people won't care, I think. They just want it. I mean, branding is like that. We're a branding agency. So when we talk about branding, we talk about emotional connections to things, right? And when you fall in love with a brand, it represents who you are. Why do I put an Apple logo on my car? Because it says something about me. I'm an Apple guy, you know?
Yeah.
Why do I put an American flag? Why do I do anything? Like when I buy a certain thing, when I wear this jacket, this is me. I like this brand, whatever that may be. And we're not all that way, but we're able to, we will pay more for a brand we like and that we can rely on, that we can depend on, that says something about us. We will spend more. We will advocate more. We will sell more. We will go out and say, have you tried this? Have you seen this? Oh, you got to try that restaurant. It's so good because now it's part of who I am. It says something about me that I was already there.
Yeah.
And if I like it, I want you to like it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's branding, right? So when we get into the AI argument and all those different things, like we're going to still want people to be people. We're going to still want to find those chains and those links that are worth it more to us. You know, the people that are transactional buyers, you know, they're just looking for the best price. They're going to take whatever they want.
Right.
And I don't care who made it. I don't care who did it. I don't care as long as whatever, you know, those people are always going to exist too.
Yeah.
So you have to find your audience and find where you can find your place in the world, you know?
It's like shopping on Amazon.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a particular product, Amazon has 31 different flavors of Chinese brands that sell that same product at various different prices. I look at those. Sometimes I'm just curious, like, let me look at the store logo. It is the most bizarre store logo, but they have the product. It's probably coming from Alibaba or whatever it is. But I'm like, you know what? I don't care about that brand. I care about this particular product. Transactionally, whatever, they could have created their logo with AI and it doesn't matter. Boom, just buy it. But for example, Apple, I saw recently, and I don't know if you saw this, but you may have, where one of their, I don't know if it's Apple TV's logo, where it's the Apple logo and it's like, it like swipes and it's like several different color panes that flip. You would think that it was either AI generated or created computer graphics, like, you know, just animated. When in fact, Apple went the hard route. Today, that's the hard route, and used panes of glass and filmed each piece with like these little microscopic cameras and folded the glass and used lighting and everything, real like analog, essentially, animation to create that intro that was literally maybe 3 seconds long. But because they did it that way, feels so, there's a, not cheap, not expensive, but like quality.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great example though, but they have the budget to go do that too. Somebody else who doesn't, they have to make a choice. Am I gonna spend a lot of money on this and time on this, or can I just get it done quickly? And that's the decision we have to make. You know, the quality. Sometimes it's quality over time. You know, how much is our time worth for us? And that's becoming more and more. I mean, the number one thing that we focus on, and for most of our clients, is all about time. How do we save time? How do we save time? How do we save time? How do we save you time? How do they save you time? I mean, it's because it's something we can't buy enough of. You know.
Yeah, I know. Well, so we are at about 45 minutes, and I want to go ahead and talk about the Brand Break Summit that you guys have coming up, which I think is going to be cool. So for those who haven't heard of it, what is the Brand Break Marketing Summit, and what is the purpose behind it?
This was something that Jackie had come up with really not too long ago, a few months ago. She was talking to somebody, and I was a marketing director. And as an agency, we work with marketing directors all over the country. And they are so important to our success, and hopefully we're important to theirs too. But that relationship is huge. They are the conduit when we sign on with a company. We do a lot of B2B work, and that marketing director is the go-between, the direct link. They are the brand voice and the brand leader for that particular company, you know? And so it's really important that there's a good relationship there. But what we noticed more and more, and we've been very fortunate. We love our marketing directors that we work with, and that relationship has to be good for it to be successful. And we've had clients for multiple years with the same marketing director, which is a testament of their worth and our relationship. But you know, especially in smaller communities, she launched BSU many years ago. It's Brand State U, and it was basically as we got a little bigger as an agency and we started moving out of market for things, a lot of local companies would come to us and say, "Hey, can you help us with this?" And it was like, you know, not that we're too big. We just our building got too big. We had too many lights. We had too many bills. We got too expensive for maybe a smaller company that was just starting up. And we still wanted to be involved. We still wanted to help. So she started Brand State U, and it was online series of classes and courses. And a small business owner or a local marketing director or in a small company, if they want to sharpen their skills, they can go take these classes, which is basically based on our branding process, which is Razor Branding. Focuses on focus, which is your audience. Promise, which is the why do we care? Focuses on the connection, which is the what are we saying once we know who we're talking to? And harmony, which is the where are we going to say it once we know all these answers? That's the formula for our branding. And it's not a secret. We wrote a book about it called He Said, She Said Branding a few years ago. If you ever want to get it, it tells literally how we do it. People still don't do it, but that's that, and it works. It's a proven method. We do it daily, and if you follow these steps and you do it right, you can be successful with it. Brand State U is a small micro version of that. How do you do that on a daily basis? How do you use it for social media? How do you understand marketing better? How do you understand those levels? Because sometimes people in marketing director positions, they come right out of school maybe, or they transfer from something else, or they take on that role and they don't have all of the background, or they don't have the person down the hall to go to ask for questions. They're working in a bubble most of the time, right? And so what we found, and I hope I'm making sense with all this. This is why Jackie normally does public speaking, not me. But basically we found a niche for that. There needs to be there's no award programs for them. There's no conferences for them. So let's do that. Let's make a conference, a one-day event where marketing directors, if you work in a marketing director, if you're in a bank, you're in-house, or you're a business owner that does your own marketing, that you want to come together with other individuals, with some expert agencies that here in the area. We have some keynote speakers that are coming in for this too. But it's basically for the community to come together, learn from each other, network, and learn from people that are doing it every day and working with marketing directors every day. What are some of the things that you, and the way Jackie puts it in here, she called it brand break because it was like, we're so taxed. It's so hard every day to come up with new ideas and to dig deep and to find, everybody's looking at you, especially if you're a single source marketing director running basically all the advertising yourself, which is generally the case. Yeah. And so you have to, it's exhausting. And like, where does my next idea come from? I'm so busy doing my day job. I don't know how to look forward. So that's what this day was about. It's about take a break, come in here, get that weight off your shoulder, learn, and get after it when you get back. Have those ideas as a resource. So that's the idea behind it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, so being a creative myself, and you may have, similar experiences. I have been in positions where I have been creatively taxed, where I was told to create T-shirt designs for schools. That was a T-shirt designer in 2011, and I was designing school spirit shirts for several schools in the area. I was told I need to figure out what will be cool on a shirt next year, the year after that. I'm like, I can try, but the way the internet works, I knew how life works. It moves fast. I mean, life's been moving fast for years, well before the internet, but the internet's even faster. I'm like, what's cool today isn't going to be cool tomorrow. So I was told to create all these shirts, and guess what? I created 2 to 3 years of shirts for spirit shirts and name signature shirts. And what's funny, I don't know how funny it is. It's not that funny. It's actually kind of sad. My employer came up to me, and he wanted to see all the designs that I came up with. And now, mind you, I had a very limited resource of graphics to use at that time. I would have loved to have AI at that time. I would have been able to spit out so much stuff and not have been creatively taxed, and actually being able to focus on these things that I do have creative juices for more efficiently. But in that time, I was using all the clip art, all the things that they had bought as a company available to me that was licensed that I can use to print. And he looked at them and said, they all kind of look the same. I'm like, it's because I'm drained. Like, how do you want me to create something new when I don't even know what that year's about? Like, every year has its own personality.
Yeah.
And sometimes the beginning of the year and the end of the year has a different personality. Like, you don't know what people are leaning towards. You don't know if social media is going to be popular, like if Facebook is going to be popular this year or, next year, like a new thing called TikTok. You don't know. So I was using like social media clip art, like the thumbs up for Facebook back in the day.
Yeah.
I was using that and it worked. But it doesn't work today. It's like, I didn't know how to be so creatively efficient and pull the juices out on a day-to-day basis.
The thing is, like, I look at creativity a little differently. Like, when you say the word creativity, people say, oh, I'm not creative. That's the first thing people tell me. And I'm like, it's ridiculous. Everybody's creative. It's about, creativity is about how you solve problems. So solving problems, like in your situation there, like you're trying to solve a problem. And so that's like, okay, that problem's unsolvable because you need to wait for that to happen before you can create it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's some triggers that have to go off in there. But for creativity, as marketing directors, everybody says, well, I'm not creative. You may not be artistic. You may not have a craft or a skill to back that up.
But you have a brain.
Yes, and creativity is how we solve problems. And so again, that's part of what this is about, people coming together, and because they're on the front lines, marketing directors, and they get so little opportunity to grow and network in themselves and find those things. And like part of this is we have partnered with Brand State U, brandRUSSO's involved. I'm going to be speaking there. Jackie, TSC is an agency out of Baton Rouge. They're doing work here in Lafayette as well with LFT Fiber as well as we are. And LFT Fiber is our sponsor for this, our keynote sponsor. And so we're excited to have them on board with that. Rally agency, Comet, and I think that's about it. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. But those are the ones. And so all those agencies have come together, and their talent is going to be there to speak and to share their wisdom and insight and to answer questions and all that. And it's really, again, this is not benefiting us. Like, we're not out trying to get business from this. This is trying to grow our community. This is trying to, in all seriousness, that's what BSU is for. I mean, that's not our main focus. Our focus is brandRUSSO. That's what we're out there really hustling and trying to get work and accounts and all those things. BSU was just, we want to stay involved in our community. We want to stay connected, and we want to be able to help where we could. And this is part of that. How do we have something that, because again, this was 2 months ago, Jackie had this idea, and it was like, she just moves quickly on things.
Oh, yeah, she moves real quick.
Yeah, within a few months, we had sponsors. We have great media sponsors now. You see some ads running around. We found LFT was very gracious to help us with this. And just like I said, people were jumping on board, and all the information on the website if I'm missing anything details. But we found Lauren Feldman, who is a friend of ours. He's a great guy. He's one of the keynote speakers. And just a little bit about him. He used to write for Inc., Forbes, and New York Times. He was their business writer. And he formed a group called 21 Hats that Jackie belonged to. And she's on his board of a podcasting that she does with him. But anyway, we've been to a couple of his conferences. He's a great guy. And he was in New Orleans a few weeks ago, and we were meeting with him on something. And Jackie just threw it out there. Would you like to come talk at this? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. And he's like a great get. He's like a really big deal, I think. And to have him there. But he's going to be a keynote there. And he's going to be, I think his topic is going to be, every business has a story to tell, but not every business owner has figured out what that story is and how to tell it. That's going to be his subject there. But it's going to be at the Downtown Convention Center. The date of it is, and I'll give you all this information, and I'm sorry, again, Jackie normally is here for these things. January 13th.
Yeah, January 13th.
Yeah. Downtown Convention Center. And I think she gave me a code to give to you too as well.
Okay.
That you can pass for your listeners if anybody wants to sign up. We have an early bird thing going on right now, but for listeners of this show, it's Develop Lafayette 50. and you get, I think, 50% off. So, which is a
Nice.
pretty good deal. Yeah. And
Okay.
it's not hugely expensive or anything, but there's a cost just to pay for the venue and the people that are coming in and all that good stuff. But I think it's going to be great. It's great for our community. We've always been, advocates of our advertising and marketing communities here to be as strong as they can be. I mean, there's plenty of work. We're not territorial with that or anything like that. And we've never really had issues with that. And we used to have an ad fed here. We don't need more. So there's just not an opportunity for people to get together and learn from each other and have that kind of programming and resources.
No, I'm excited for it. Whenever she approached me about it and started talking about it, I thought it was cool. I was like, wait, like I had to dig in a little bit to understand it. I was like, okay, this is bringing in all the people that do marketing and do things in town on social media together in kind of a single space to kind of talk about, all the different challenges and of course the things and how you can get better with it. So how is it? So you said it's a single day from start to finish. How long you think during the day?
I think it starts morning to the afternoon. It's a full day. I think they provide lunch and refreshments, that kind of thing. I mean, some of the things, and again, some more Jackie's programming for this, but like navigating currents, in-house teams, balancing strategy and execution, messages that make sense, turning company values into customer loyalty, proving your drift, marketing measurements and ROI, leadership will trust. I mean, those are all things that we struggle with. It's not just your basics, but the nuts and bolts of things. Metrics. How do you process all the information that you have? Because there's a lot of information now, and everybody's asking for it. Well, did this work? Give me the numbers. I want to know how many this, how many that. Which ones matter? Which ones don't? How do you analyze that? What are the tools you're using to do those things? I mean, that's all things that, if you say you're an expert in it, you're not being fully honest, because it's changing daily, and so you have to say, well, this is what I know. And you know what I'm saying? If you try to sell that as I know all the answers, you probably don't, because it just changed while you said that, And so you have to be on top of things. You have to understand how to process information, how to get it up and running. There's a storm surge strategy, crisis communication when things go wrong, something that everybody should have in their bucket, AI in action, smarter campaigns with tools and workflows that cut through the noise, anchored in story, building brand loyalty in a crowded marketplace, high tide, low tide, knowing when to build, buy, and borrow with agencies, regulated waters, case studies from energy, healthcare, and finance marketing, your personal lighthouse, elevating your personal brand as a marketing professional. All these things are really valuable stuff. Yeah, it's great stuff. And she did a great job with the puns in there. Jackie loves a good pun, but marketing with currents, marketing with waves, it's all based on the brand break and the BSU. And there's a wave in that logo because Jackie's a big beach person. She loves the beach. So that's kind of what that all tied into. But it was all about escaping and retreat and relaxing from that. And there's a calming presence to knowledge, that kind of thing. So, but anyway, I'm excited about it. I'm excited to be involved with it. It's one of again, if you know Jackie at all, she's a very proactive person on the cusp, and she's a great consultant. She's a very sought after speaker right now. She travels all over the country giving these lectures and things. She's a consultant for the Edward Lowe Foundation and helping small businesses and things like that. So I think at this stage in our career, but her more than me, obviously, she's it has become the true expert, And a lot of people can say that, but like she's actually the years of knowledge. Like there's 10,000 hours you become an expert,
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a book, Outliers, and he talks about that. But anyway, there is a moment when you start to say things and you're like, wait, that's the truth. Like I said it, and now it matters because I have the experience to back it up. It's not just an opinion anymore. Like if I tell somebody this is wrong, it's no longer an opinion. This is based on what I know. So now I have credentials behind it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with her. Is like she's helped enough businesses and has enough knowledge to where now she can put together the programming to do that for other people. And I think, it's a great opportunity for people to kind of jump on and learn about things, grow, tap into new technologies, and not just from us, but from these other agencies that are participating in that, which I'm so proud of them too for doing, because you can get real competitive with this stuff and say, well, man, I don't want to do that. But like TSC was great about joining in and comment and rallying. And again, we're all at different levels. We all have different marketing expertise and different talents, and we've just found that everybody does their thing really well, and there's no reason to go toe to toe and be, greedy about stuff,
There are so many creative companies just in general, but especially in Lafayette, there are so many. And it's so interesting to see which companies become the most dominant each year. Like I feel like every year or two, there's a different company that'll start up or rise to the top that have been that's been in business for a while, but like all of a sudden they created something or they started working with the company and like, the cream rises to the top or whatever. And I'm like, this is a company that is different. Like, and then I start digging into them and I'm like, I mean, that they're cool. Like, how come I didn't hear about them before? And it's because they ended up getting a client or whatever have you. And, but it's just, you're right. It can be a competitive scene.
Yeah. And we being around and we kind of become one of those groups. We've been around for a while, and we've grown to a point where we have a lot of clients that are out of market. And so we're not doing a lot of local day-to-day things here. And when we get to, it's awesome. It's just, just the way things are. We do a lot of B2B work. And so we found our niche and what we like to do in the companies that we work well with, and so I don't know, we're centrally located. We're downtown. We're right by the park, big circle around the building, we try to be involved as much as we can with things. And, but again, that's our lane. But I don't know when we've come across we haven't competed against other agencies in a long time here, and really that's not something we've ever been worried about. It's like, look, if we're right for that company, they're gonna like us and we're gonna do that work. It's one of the things we learned over time is that you can't force it, and you can't want it too bad sometimes. It's got to be the right fit. We have this criteria for the clients that we want to work with, and it's up on our wall at the office. And it's like, these are the people. We finally figured that out. We can't force that, and if they don't meet those criteria, then it's not going to work. It's just not. There has to be a relationship. There has to be trust. There has to be an investment in themselves. All these things have to happen. If it's a client that's going to be browbeating you every day and constantly micromanaging, not letting you do your job, it's not going to work out. It may work out for 6 months, but eventually somebody's getting mad and somebody's going to get happy, and all sides end up crashing and burning. And so things you learn over time.
Yeah. I don't know. Anybody who's been in a creative position or industry at all, I feel like has touches of that, because I've worked with companies that I'm like, this ain't working out. Like, and I did not know the term firing a customer or the phrase until like probably 20. Oh God, I don't want to say 2010. It was probably 2008, 2009. But I think I like started using it and thinking about it more in the early 2010s whenever I was deeper into graphic design. And I was like, this person isn't working out, and I am just gonna cut my losses. It's like, we're done. Like, I don't want to get creatively drained. I don't want to tax myself so much to try to please you when it's something I'm not even gonna like.
Yeah,
I want to like what I put out.
Absolutely. And there's the creative side of that and just the self-gratification of that. But also for us too, we take the results very seriously. Like when somebody hires us and gives us money to do something, we need to do our job. And when we can't do our job because we aren't getting what we need from them, or there's roadblocks, or they're not listening, that's a problem, right? Because we believe in our process. We believe we're going to get there if we stay on the track. I mean, there's no guarantees in anything, especially not in advertising. But if you have a plan and a process, generally it will work if you're consistent, And again, that commitment to that promise or that effort. Like again, I'm not doing it just to. I'm not trying to win an award. I'm not trying to make myself feel better. Results come first, for us always. And I think a lot of times there's people that are more in tune to what they want versus what the client needs. And sometimes you have to make a sacrifice. You have to say, is this creatively more rewarding, or is this better for the client? Is this better for now? Is this better for the customer? Is this better for communication purposes? I could have something really, really, really fun, but I kind of don't need that right now. So you have to have the gates on for that and understand what those things are all about. And again, that's just, you live and learn the process of it all.
Well, this has been a good conversation, man. You're in the optics of you and Jackie, you're the quiet one. And I've only talked to you a handful of times very briefly. And so to actually sit down and like really talk with you and to kind of know a little bit about you or where you're from and like your family history a little bit, like that's kind of interesting. You're pretty fascinating. I'll be honest.
Well, I appreciate it. No, you do a great job. It's very. You're right. I'm not a front of the house guy. We kind of based our agency on a restaurant plan. Like there's front of the house, back of the house. I'm back of the house. I'm like the chef and the cook. My team. She's the front of the house. She's like the maitre d', the waiters. So they're touching the tables. They're meeting the clients. They're finding out what they want. They're coming to us. We're creating, and she's presenting back. So that's kind of our method. And so yeah, I let her be the shining star, and she's great at it.
No, she kills it.
Yeah,
she's always doing something. I'm like, dude. Jackie just doesn't stop.
No, she's good to have on your team. Like I said, she generally has an answer for it, and it's not made up. Like it's usually pretty good. And just like, man, what the hell? Why didn't I think of it? And she's quick. I'll come up with that sometimes, but it'll take me a little bit. I gotta process it. It takes me a little bit of time to think through all the variables.
I gotta cook.
Yeah, got to. She's like, boom. And usually it's pretty close,
Yeah.
So.
Love it. All right. So for the brand break, the website is brandstateu.com/brandbreak. I'm pretty sure you can just Google it, type in Russo brand break or brand stateu brand break. It'll probably pull up. If you guys are good at your job, it'll pull up, right?
Yep. It's on all our social media right now. You'll see some billboards and some radio TV that's out there right now for it.
Awesome. Well,
and don't forget, there's the special that we have there for your listeners. So if you are listening, 50% off. It's again good opportunity. I would jump on it.
Well, I'm gonna grab that code from you, and then I'll put it in the captions and the comment section, and I'll put the link to the event because I think anybody that does anything in Lafayette that's creative or any kind of marketing, which at this point, if you're on social media and you own a business, you're doing marketing.
It's a hybrid. Yeah.
Everybody's doing it. It's just at different capacities.
Yep.
So I think it's a great learning experience, and I'm looking forward to going. So with that, man, Michael, it was a pleasure to have you on. Love the logo, by the way. I've always been fascinated with the Russo logo. It literally is just the registered symbol.
Yep.
But it works. It's just, you guys are a branding agency. You guys have the R in your name, and it's
been a lucky accident. We fought over it for months, and that was kind of like, fine, I'm done, and we just put it out there. It ended up being great because like it's just been so easy to have on everything. We're a branded household. We have it on our luggage and everything.
Oh, so, I bet you got tumblers with it and everything. I'm sure, right?
It's everywhere.
All right. Well, Michael, it has been a pleasure. I hope you have a great weekend, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. Really do.
All right. You guys have a good one, and we appreciate y'all listening. And with that, we'll see you on your next one.